What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 213 of the Idiotic Sports Talk. I'm your host, Liam Gavin, coming to you live from my bedroom. And today I'm giving you all the Week 17 picks around the NFL. Last week, 9-7 was the record on picks. It's a pretty average record. I was disappointed with how it ended, though, because it started 7-2 and then finished 2-5. So we got to be better this week. And this week, speaking of the NFL, just a lot of suspense, a lot of playoff hopes on the line, a lot of division hopes, winners of the division on the line. So let's get into it. We'll dive into the Thursday game. This is the last Thursday night football game of the season, sadly, and it's going to end with the Jets playing the Browns. So the Browns are absolutely rolling right now on both offense and defense, and I really don't know how the Jets win this game. Maybe force some turnovers, but the Browns defense should feast against them, and it sucks because I'm facing the Browns defense in the fantasy championship, and I think they're going to get a lot of points, and this is the Joe Flacco revenge game. He was a Jet last year. He wasn't re-signed. The Jets pretty much told him bye-bye. And imagine if the Jets kept him. It would have helped when Aaron Rodgers went down. So, yeah, there's a little bit of drama in this game. I got the Browns, though, 23-10. Next is the Saturday game. This is the last Saturday game of the season. It's the Lions taking on my Cowboys. So this is going to be a Saturday night showdown between two of the best teams in the NFC. And the Lions are fresh off their first division title since 1993. They clinched a playoff spot, and they're feeling good. As for the Cowboys, they're coming off back-to-back losses, and they have a tough game ahead of them. The run defense has been so bad for them the last few games, and it just so happens they're playing a top 3 run team in the league. So they need to tighten that run defense up, or it's going to be a tough night. And the defense also needs to force turnovers. They haven't done that the last couple of weeks. And I think the offense should ball against the suspect Lions defense. And this is the last home game of the season. And thank God it's home because the Cowboys haven't lost at home since September of 2022. And they play way better at home compared to the road. But it still won't be easy going against a good team like the Lions. But of course, I got to pick my Cowboys 34-30. Next are the Sunday games on New Year's Eve. We got a lot of New Year's Eve games. It's the Titans taking on the Texans. So 2 AFC South rivals meet for the second time in just 3 weeks. The Texans won the first meeting in overtime, and that was without C.J. Stroud. Case Keenum was the quarterback, and I do believe Stroud is good to go. And that's why I'm going to be picking the Texans. But even if he misses his third straight game with a concussion, Case Keenum has already proved to beat them. And heck, I'd even say Davis Mills can beat them as well. I don't know if Will Levis is back from injury or if Tannehill's going to get the start again, but it won't matter. I think they'll need Derrick Henry to have an insane game to win this game. And the last meeting, Derrick Henry was shut down. The Texans, they got a lot to play for. They're fighting for a playoff spot and possibly an AFC South title. And especially if the Jags and Colts slip up, anything can happen in that division. So I'm going to go with the Texans here. I'm going to pick them to win 27-17. Next, the Falcons take on the Bears. So both have slim chances to make the playoffs, but mathematically not eliminated yet. And if the Falcons want to win, they have to have Taylor Heineke out there because Desmond Ritter's just not a good quarterback. They're going to have to run the ball, and their defense must stop the run against a really good running team. And as for the Bears, they're playing better down the stretch. Fields is showing a lot of improvements each week, and the run game has been lethal for them as well. They had about 250 yards last week, and just like the Atlanta defense, Chicago also has to stop the run, and it's a tough game to pick. It could go either way, but due to the Falcons being a dome team going on the road in harsh elements, I got to pick the Bears 23-21. Next game is the Dolphins taking on the Ravens, so this should be a really good one. The battle of 2 solid AFC teams. The Dolphins got a big win against my Cowboys last week, which was a huge confidence boost. But you want to talk about a confidence boost, how about the Ravens dismantling the 49ers? Both have great offenses. The Dolphins have the better wide receiver core. The Ravens have the better run game. And the quarterback advantage, I give it to the Ravens. And for defense, it's the Ravens defense hands down. But the Dolphins do have a pretty underrated defense, though. And I think the Ravens defense is going to get after Tua. The Ravens run game is going to step up as well, like they always do. And I also think Lamar Jackson has another solid MVP-like performance. As for the Dolphins, they can win, though. They have to protect the ball and not turn it over. They have to stop the run and create turnovers on defense. And the Dolphins aren't known as a quality road team, while the Ravens, they can beat any team anywhere, whether it's on the road, whether it's at home. It doesn't matter to them. So I'm I'm going to take the Ravens here, especially because they're at home. I'm going to take them to win 31-24. Next is the Saints taking on the Bucs. So NFC South rivals meet for the second time this season. The Bucs won the first matchup earlier, and that was on the road in the Saints' home. This is a big game with not only playoff implications, but division title implications. The Saints need this win for any shot at the playoffs and to win that division. And if the Bucs win, the Saints could pretty much kiss those dreams goodbye. And the Bucs are absolutely rolling right now, while the Saints are the definition of inconsistent. And the Bucs are also playing at home. So give me the Bucs here 28-22, sweeping their division rival for the season. Next, the Patriots take on the Bills. So this is the second meeting of the AFC East rivals. The Pats pulled off the upset earlier this season, and that was against a different Bills team, though. This Bills team is absolutely on fire. I'm sure the Patriots will do whatever it takes to pull off another upset against their division rival, but I doubt it happens because the Bills remember that loss and they're going to take it personal. And I got the Bills to win this one 30-13. They know what's at stake. They're the hotter team. They're all around just better than the Patriots, and they're also playing at home. Next, the Cardinals take on the Eagles. So the Eagles, they can't slip up and lose, because if they do, they could lose the potential 2 seed in the NFC and could possibly affect their chances of winning the NFC East. They haven't looked good lately, especially on defense. I know offense hasn't looked great, but the defense has been absolutely abysmal. They won last week, but they gave up 25 points to a sorry Giants offense. And the Cardinals, not for nothing, they're super scrappy. They don't go down without a fight. They have beaten quality teams this season. I know they only have 3 wins, but they've beaten some tough opponents. And, I can't rely on them to win, but I need them to win. As a Cowboys fan, I'm pulling for you, Cardinals. Let's go. But it's going to be hard for them to do that. They're going on the road in the Lincoln hostile environments. And the Eagles, they're just all around a better team. But with that being said, we got a Kyler Murray masterclass incoming. So give me the Cardinals to win here, 26-21. Next, the Panthers take on the Jaguars. So the Panthers, we all know, they're a bad team. But during this 4-game skid for the Jaguars, they're doing their best Panthers impression. And we have the battles of two cats going at it. The one cat, which is the Panthers, they have nothing to play for, while the other cat, being the Jaguars, they have everything to play for. They're holding on to that 4th seed in the AFC. They're clinging on to first place of the AFC South. And a loss followed by the Colts and Texans winning may result in them not winning that division and missing the playoffs. And by the way, if they lose their 5th straight game and they lose at home and they lose to a 2-win team, the season is absolutely cooked. They very well could lose to the Panthers too, especially if the Panthers from last week show up, and especially because Trevor Lawrence might not start this game, so there's a lot at stake for them. This is definitely a get-right game for the Jags, so I'm going to pick them to bounce back and win 28-20. Next game is the Raiders taking on the Colts, so playoff implications on the line for both teams. The Colts are currently the 7th seed in the AFC, and they could also potentially get first of the AFC South with a win, and if the Jags lose. But a loss would set them back tremendously. They can't afford a loss. And as for the Raiders, they could still manage to squeak into the playoffs. They got a huge upset on the road last week against the Chiefs, and their defense has been balling out lately. They're 4-3 under Antonio Pierce, and it's tough to pick this winner. I think he'd go either way, but I'm going to go with the Colts here, 24-19. The next game is the Rams taking on the Giants. So the Rams have a lot to play for. The Giants are eliminated last week, and the Rams are closing out on the season. They're absolutely on fire, and they have the playoffs in their mind. They have a great run game. They have a great wide receiver core too. And of course, I face Kyron Williams, Cooper Kupp, and Puka Nacua in the fantasy championship this week. Not looking forward to that either. And as for Matt Stafford, the quarterback, he's playing absolutely great football right now. So they're all around just very dangerous. And as for the Giants, they benched the Italian stallion, Tommy DeVito, and they're going to give it the savvy veteran Tyrod Taylor the start. And he almost led the comeback against the Eagles last week. He's solid enough to compete against the Rams, but I think the Giants defense is going to get gashed against the Rams offense. And the Rams are just better all around. They're playing for something. So I'm going to pick them to win 26-14. Next is... Couldn't read that for a second. The 49ers taking on the Commanders. So the Niners were embarrassed last week. They're going to be pretty pissed off, and they're going on the road to face a team that's not that good. They need a win to hang on to the 1 seed in the NFC. And the Commanders are benching Sam Howell for Jacoby Brissett, who's played pretty well since Sam Howell's been benched. But I don't think it's going to matter at all because the Commanders have no chance. So give me the Niners 37-13. Next, the Steelers take on the Seahawks. So this is a battle of 2 8-7 teams. They're both desperate to make the playoffs, and they're both right on the cusp of the playoff on the playoff ceiling, like sealing a spot in the playoffs. And the Steelers, with Mason Rudolph as the quarterback last week, they got a huge win, and he's going to start again. And their offense actually looked pretty competent with him as quarterback, but it's not going to be easy. They're going on a road against a Seattle team that's really good at home. It's a tough place to win in Seattle. And Seattle, if not for nothing, they've strung a couple of wins these last couple games for a push to make the NFC playoffs. And like I said, they'll be playing at home where they're a much different team. And I think they're going to be to run the ball heavy against a defense that's not good against the run. So give me the Seahawks here, 21-17. Next game is the Bengals taking on the Chiefs. So it's always fun when these two teams meet. Burrow versus Mahomes is always must-see TV, except Jake Browning is going to be the quarterback instead of Joe Burrow. And they got smacked last week by the Steelers. So they need a win for playoff hopes in the AFC. They're going on the road in a tough environment, though, but they're facing a Kansas City team who's been struggling lately. The Chiefs have looked so bad down the stretch, and they have to figure it out ASAP. And the Chiefs can easily lose this game, but I'm not confident, but I think they're going to bounce back, and I think they're going to win 26-24. The next game is the Chargers taking on the Broncos. So AFC West rivals meeting for the second time this season. The Broncos, they won the first game pretty convincingly, but that was with Russell Wilson at quarterback. Yesterday, the Broncos announced that Russ will be benched for the rest of the season and that Jarrett Stidham will be the starter, and I don't get it. I don't get that at all because the Broncos, they're 7-8. Their playoff hopes are just right there, and it just makes no sense. It's like they're waving the white flag on the season once they're benching Russell Wilson, and it's just weird to me. But as for the Chargers, they go on the road, high altitude. They looked good last Saturday against the Bills. They could have won that game too, and they have a chance to win this one as well. Easton Stick looked pretty good last week, but they have to establish the run game and create turnovers on defense. And it's really hard to pick a winner, but I guess I'll go with the Broncos 24-23. The final game is the Packers taking on the Vikings. So two NFC North rivals with playoff hopes on the line. They meet for the second time this season. The Vikings beat them in the first game on the road in Lambeau. And that's the game that Kirk Cousins tore his Achilles and went out for the season. So now that Cousins is out, he's been out for a while for the Vikings. Nick Mullins will most likely start at quarterback, and he's an interception machine. It also doesn't help the Vikings offense that tight end TJ Hawkinson tore his ACL last week. And if Mullins can limit the turnovers, they'll definitely win this game. And as for the Packers, they go back on the road, and they barely escaped the Panthers last week on the road. They can win this game, though. They got to protect the ball. They have to run the ball, and they have to create takeaways on the defense. It's a very interesting matchup. 2 7-8 teams fighting for the playoff lives. But I'm going to have to go with Minnesota here, getting the sweep and winning 28-27. And that's it for my Week 17 picks around the NFL. Before I go, my lock of the week is the Niners over the Commanders. And my upset is the Cardinals over the Eagles. So yeah, let me know what you think of my picks. Let me know which ones you agree with, disagree with, who's your lock, who's your upset, if I picked your team to win or if I picked them to lose. And remember, subscribe to this YouTube channel, follow me on my Instagram below, and last but not least, enjoy your New Year's. I hope it's happy, I hope it's safe, and I'll see you guys in 2024.